feeling cold against your skin. Running through the chaos, letting all the sin. Temptation in a bottle, ready for the night. Craving for the thrill, it's time to ignite. Dark desires burning bright. Echoes in the dead of night. No retreat, no looking back on this heart attack.
Hey, how are you? Good to see you all. We were delayed by a little bit delayed. I was checking out, and it sounds like I'm an old man. I was checking out a line trimmer. I have to do my backyard because it's summer and it's time to sort of do the tidy up of the backyard and spray it for summer and things like that. And I got caught up looking at line trimmers. So yeah, Ping is looking at getting one of those whippersnipper type things to. I'm getting old. I can't get on my, down low for like 5 hours and pull out all the weeds and stuff. So I can't do that for hours and hours anymore. And it needs something to make it an easier job and not a 2 day, like the entire weekend tidying the backyard. So, yeah, good to see you all. Good to see you all. Sorry about the delay. Tonight, we're going to talk about. I don't know if many of you have heard about this, but it's called the T app, and it sort of crosses a few different boundaries of things we talk about. It's a crime. What has happened? It is a data breach. We're going to talk about a data breach that happened. But has there been some other things that could be considered a crime in the name of protecting women? Well, we're going to talk about it. We're going to talk about it. I promise. We're going to talk about all facets of this. And I think it's an interesting sort of case study about where dating and relationships are in this modern world with the internet. It started with online dating, meeting in chat rooms back in the early days of the modern internet, back in dial up and DSL line connections. And now it's sort of moved to these sort of apps. But with that has come things like these T app type places and Facebook groups. Are we dating the same guy? Facebook groups. And born out of that was this T app. This app was designed, at least my understanding of it was designed for women to be able to share details about men who may display dangerous traits and to protect other women. I think that's a great idea. I think we know the DV and attacks on women are mostly perpetrated by men, and that's a great way to try and warn your girlfriends, warn the girls around the world about guys who may commit DV type things or financially abuse people, something like that. I think that's a great idea. But what's not a great idea is when it blurs the line between what its intended purpose was and becoming a gossip type website or app. And it's sort of evolved, and I have the evidence here. I as a journalist, I try and find out everything, and I have seen the data leaks. And I can tell you a lot of the things that were put onto these apps were not what the intended purpose of the app was. And I'm talking about things like guys' addresses, naked photos of men, fully naked, like 100% full frontal nudity. And I know I can hear people screaming. You say, but Ping, men have been doing this for years. And that is true. They have. And there's laws around it. It's called, revenge, P word. And there's been big laws come in certain places to try and deal with that type of thing. But why is it okay to do it under the guise of protecting other women? And that's what I am trying to come to a conclusion on because I don't understand. I don't understand why it's okay to do that to men if it's not okay to do that to women. And why do people try to hide it under the guise of protecting other women? It's one thing to share a photo of a guy and say, look, I was dating this guy. He, you know, verbally abused me after one date or something like that. I get that. That's great. And I think that actually does really help women And if it saves the life of a woman not ending up in a ditch somewhere dismembered, like we've talked about on this channel, that's great. Less people, less women that I have to report on this channel. When it becomes more than that, it becomes more like women hanging around and gossiping about men, commenting on their looks and judging their man parts about how big they are, how small they are, how they perform in bed. It may have crossed a line. And what this data breach demonstrated a few months ago was under the surface of what this was supposed to be, this was all happening in the background through private messages, through chats, through other posts and things like that. So the line got blurred. It's very concerning. And I saw a article. I'm going to bring it up here. There was an article written by the BBC in the UK about this, and the story is about a woman, and the woman had her information leaked in this data breach. So this data breach wasn't only men; it was women too. So to sign up for these apps, you sort of have to provide a photo. Sometimes they might ask for more because it's only meant for women. So they really sort of judge people when they sign up. They're like, "Well, are you a woman?" If they don't think you are, they'll ask for maybe like an ID or something like that. So a lot of women in this data breach had their home addresses, their licenses, and their photos leaked as well. So it's a double-edged sword. Not only did men have their photos, addresses, and other things leaked, the women who signed up for the app also had their information leaked, including their home addresses. And some of these women were fleeing from DV circumstances, and they were sort of warning people online after relationships had gone bad. And now they're worried, well, this information is accessible. Maybe my ex can find it and track me down. So it's a bit of a double-edged sword. I want to find my BBC article here. And I want to talk about it because I think it's being unfairly cast as, oh, only misogynistic men would have a problem with this app. Well, no, I don't think that's fair. I think there's a big difference between, like I said earlier, warning people of, dangerous men or something like that, and then sharing naked photos, work addresses, home address, other photos, children they might have, that type of thing. Like, goes beyond the purpose of what they originally set out to do. Hold on. There we go. Signs on. It means we're in business. It means we got started. So they're saying here, my ex stalked me, so I joined a dating safety app. Then my address was leaked, and her address was leaked in this data breach. And the data breach has everything, absolutely everything that was behind the sort of sign up link for this app had everything. So this app, and I'll read you what it could do. Women could reverse image search to check against people. They would upload photos and then they would check them to see if the person was catfishing them, that type of thing. It would also be possible to mark men as red or green flags and then share unproven gossip. The app was founded in 2023 but climbed to the charts in the US to the number one spot in July of this year. It reportedly attracted more than 1 million users to the app. Sally, whose name has been changed to protect her identity, thought it was interesting to read what was being said about men in her area, but she found it gossipy and that some of the information was unreliable. In late July, the app was hacked. Over 70,000 images were leaked and posted online on a message board. You guys may know it. It's called 4chan, including IDs and selfies of users, which were meant to have been for verification purpose only, and deleted immediately. Well, I can tell you that I downloaded that data breach and I went through it this morning, and I can tell you that those photos were not deleted immediately. There are thousands of women's selfies on there, them like sort of holding the camera to their face. It's, oh, look, I'm a lady. Look, let me in the app. There's thousands of women's photos in there. There's also some ID photos as well. Or not only that, there are private messages that I've got that I was able to have a look through very briefly, and it does detail some sort of private communications between other people. It is very disturbing. What's more disturbing is that the app thought this was okay, thought that this was okay to ask people for this type of information and then not secure it. So, why is this relevant, Ping? Well, in a couple of weeks, just like in the UK, Australia is going to bring in an age gated system to online, especially for social media. And just like the UK, Australia really wants to bring in a national ID type of system where everyone has like a digital ID. What happens if you get a data breach like that and then everyone's images are out there? Look, it's already shown this one supposed to protect women. Now they're unprotected. Their information's in the wild on the internet. And do you think our governments would do a better job of protecting people? I don't think so. I think they've shown time and time again that they are lazy and that they are very half-assed at this type of thing, especially online security. So there's a connection to something that's going to happen in a couple of weeks. Actually, that ban I think takes force tonight in Australia. So I think it's tonight and from tomorrow morning. Under people who are under 16 will no longer be able to access an account on YouTube and Snapchat and Facebook and Twitter and a bunch of other places. So that comes into force tomorrow morning for Australian teenagers. But yeah, they're saying here, and this is a bit I have a problem with. The leak was seized on by misogynist groups online, and within hours, several websites had been created to humiliate the women who signed up. Well, there were a few. The maps, they say 2 maps were published on social media showing 33,000 pins spread across the USA. And then Sally said she was fearing the worst. She zoomed in on the map and was able to locate her home. Her name wasn't linked to it, but her home was on the map of pinned places in the USA. And she said she was worried her stalker ex partner could now track her down. She says he didn't know before where I lived or worked. And she says she's gone to great lengths to keep it that way. And they're saying here the BBC alerted Google of 2 maps hosted by Google Maps, and they were removed after being notified of it. They're saying here, since the breach, the BBC has found websites, apps, and even a game featuring the leaked data, which encourages harassment towards women who join the app. The game puts the selfies submitted by women head to head, instructing users to click on the one they prefer with leaderboards of the top 50 and bottom 50. While it's a different way of ranking people, it's not that different from what was actually going on that app before the data breach happened. Women were basically ranking men, either good or bad, with the green thumbs, like the green arrow up or the red arrow down. How is that any different from doing it this way? It's really not. They're basically the same thing. They are ranking humans, whether they're male or female, based on what they look like and their characteristics. So to call it misogynistic, I think is a stretch. They're saying here, users outside of the misogynistic groups also reported content deriding the appearance of women on X and TikTok. And they're saying copycat T apps for men have also proliferated, but there's no suggestion the men are doing this for their safety. Instead, users post harsh, derogatory reviews of women. I don't understand the view or lens of this article. They fail to see that this exact type of thing that they're complaining about, calling misogynistic, was happening on the T app itself. How is that okay? And why are you trying to cover that up? I spent 12 hours for the last 12 hours reading both sides of this argument. I went for the women's side and I read through everything they had to say. I went to the men's side and I read through everything they had to say. It's the same. The men are angry that the women are posting their stuff online. The women are angry because the men are posting their stuff online and saying, "Oh, she's ugly" or whatever. And it's basically the same thing that the women were doing. There was a very small percentage that were actually using the app for how it was intended, and that was to protect women who were dating. I say from the beginning, I think that's a great idea. I think there's far too many women who are being killed, abused, threatened. We talk about it every week on this channel. So I am advocating that's a great idea, but not in this format. Not when you allow people to gossip and rank people, and you're asking for trouble. And so Ping's opinion is that this data breach has actually exposed not only the app itself, but the entire thing, that it's stopped being what it was originally intended for. And here's some quotes that they include that are misogynistic, apparently. She messed with a lot of men from her area. I don't think that's misogynistic. I think that's very similar to what the women were posting on the app. She's crazy and not over her exes. I read the exact same quote on the T app. Besides her body being fake, anyone have any tea on her? I saw things on there as well. I'll tell you one story. There was a guy that was reported on one of these forums for, like, do you know this guy? Are we dating the same guy? This guy had an undersized pineapple. He had a smaller sized pineapple, and obviously felt a little self-conscious dating a new lady that he was getting involved with. And they got down to the stage where they were gonna get hot and heavy. They were gonna do the act. So what did he do? He snuck off to the bathroom for a minute, and he added a custom-made extension to his pineapple to make his pineapple bigger. A woman reported this on the T app and gave intimate details about what took place during that encounter. And I don't see that as being that very different to what is being posted on the male version here. So I think we have to stop calling everyone misogynistic and understand that there's a wide spectrum on both sides of the argument, and that there's some people doing the right thing, there's some people doing the wrong thing, and it doesn't matter if you're male or female, it comes from both sides of the agenda. So now you had a prickly pear? Yeah. I actually think it shows the guy may have been, one, a little self-conscious, but two, actually wanting to benefit the woman. He was thinking about her a little bit by wanting to, for her pleasure type thing. So interesting, but I don't believe that should have been posted online. It's highly personal, especially when this person posted a photo with it and his name and like where he worked and where he lived. Like, if that got out to his friends and his employer and his workmates and stuff, like, he'd never be able to live that down. The hurt comes from both sides, is what I'm trying to say. And yeah, here, what's the tea on this female right here? I've been messaging. Oh my God, that is so misogynistic. How dare you ask about what the tea is on this female right here? You called her a female. Oh my God, it's devastating. I've never seen something so misogynistic in my life. So there you go. These apps are everywhere. They are some of the biggest groups on Facebook. Some of them have almost 1 million people in them. Almost 1 million people. Some of the local area ones have 100,000 people within them, like in Miami and other places in Florida, in Chicago, in California, and things like that. Some of these ones for women have huge amounts of people. They're saying here, the BBC also identified more than 10 T groups on the messaging app Telegram where men share sexual and apparently AI-generated images of women for others to rate or gossip. They post the women's social media handles revealing their identities. Well, that's not cool. That might be misogynistic. The spokesperson for Telegram said that illegal pornography is explicitly forbidden. And then they say they remove it when discovered. They say a lawyer representing one of the women against the company that owns the app, the T, said that she had been subject to immense online abuse. She said it caused a tremendous amount of emotional distress. She became the subject of ridicule. It's unsurprising that the leak was exploited. I understand that she may have been the subject of ridicule and had a tremendous amount of emotional distress, but so do the men that get posted when their jobs get posted, where they work, where they go to the gym, what they look like naked. It's no different. They have to live with that reality as well. So I think we could all be a little kinder to each other, men and women. And I think women should make a better app than this, where they can really protect themselves from actual dangerous guys, not the player down the street who dates 10 women in the neighborhood. He may not be dangerous. He may just be a bit of a womanizer. It doesn't mean he's going to beat the crap out of the next woman and dismember her. They're the type of guys we really want to protect women from. The ones who cause death, injury, financial loss, that type of thing. Not the guy that's going to dump you after 3 dates. Like, I get it. It happens. Um, there's actual dangerous people out there that we could do better at protecting women and some men from too. Woman of Steel said misandry is the female equivalent to misogyny. Yes, misandry. We were going to talk about that in a minute, but there definitely seems to be some misandry going on, definitely. And I think it gets lost under the cause for the ladies. It gets lost under the protect women at all costs. They can do no wrong. And unfortunately, it seems like there has been a little bit of wrong being done, and it needs to be called out when we see it. And I see it here. Like some of these photos I was looking at earlier, dudes with their wang out, like full on wang photos, a lot of wangs, more wangs in a phone book, a lot of wangs. Um, yeah, there was a lot of naked men photos, a lot, and that's not okay. That is revenge p word. That's exactly what that is. You take a photo from a guy, even if he sent it to you, you post that online without his permission. That is exactly the same as if a guy did that to you. It is not okay. And you can't hide under the guise of protecting other women just to say, oh, well, I was trying to protect other women. You can do that without spreading revenge p word online. I hope that's very clear. They said here, men's groups had wanted to take the app down when they found out the data breach, and they saw it as a chance for retribution. This leak was picked up by misogynist communities as a great cause and one they could obviously take a lot of pride in. Apparently, this is Callum Hood, head of research at the Center for Countering Digital Hate. I find there's a lot of ignoring the elephant in the room going on. It's like no one checked the data, no one looked through the data set, and they're just like, look at all these bad men. Look at all these bad men, so many bad men everywhere. Do you see all these bad men? They're everywhere. They're all online. They're saying things online. It's concerning. This media article is absolute trash. They're saying, which is interesting coming from the BBC. A rift between men and women. They say online the T-app leak is being referred to as part of a gender war and the final straw in heterosexual dating. There's growing evidence that suggests that heterosexual young people are turning away from traditional dating and long-term romantic relationships. Negative experiences in online dating are adding to these tensions. And they're saying here, nearly 6 in 10 women says dating apps feel unsafe. And well, I can understand that. And a lot of those women are the ones we would hope that the original intent of the app was to help protect. I think, that's a great cause, and Ping is very much behind it. I spent my life on YouTube advocating for women's safety and bringing you stories about what happens when it doesn't go right. And I'm a big advocate for reducing the DV numbers in our society. But at the same time, you can't just smooth everything over with saying, wow, it's all men's fault. Men are the problem for everything in the world. and women never do anything wrong ever. You can't act like that. It's not realistic. It's not how the world works, and it's not reality. So I wanted to bring this to your attention because I don't know how many people know about these type of places. I don't know if everyone knows about them. Only some of them know about it, but they are prolific online. Chipmunk said it's because equality sucks, values are gone, integrity and honesty are so hard to find. I agree with you, my friend. I agree with you. I agree with you. So if you did not know about this, you now do. Ping has given you an inside look into the world of what is going on between men and women online. And yes, this data is still online. It has not been taken down. It is still available. I can see it in several places online. And I checked over the data very quickly and then I deleted it. I do not want it on my computer. I just wanted to research for our show tonight. And I can tell you, in all of that data, I did not find any naked ladies. I found a lot of naked men. I found a lot of photos of women, but I did not find any naked women at all. So maybe our lesbian women, friends, don't post on the T app or something. I did not see any of them being referenced on there. They're saying here the T app has now been taken down from Apple. So if you're on the Apple App Store, you can no longer get the T app. They're saying it did have 1 million users at the time of the data breach. 1 million users. That's a lot of people. A lot of people. And they're saying experts have questioned possible profit motivations behind the app alongside the trustworthiness of the information posted. For women wishing to use the app for safety, verifying the information can be challenging. Meanwhile, men who are unable to access the app have no way of knowing if false information is being posted about them. Men have no way of also defending themselves against the allegations either. So if they're, we all know there are people out there that will cause trouble just to cause trouble. Like, there's men and women, but there are some women out there who don't take rejection very well. When they get a relationship breakdown, there's problems and they will do anything to trash a guy. And what do you think they will do if they have access to an app like this? And it works both ways. It does. It's a shared problem. It works with men do it, women do it. So that's a problem when you have a gated community that's supposed to be there to keep women safe, but is actually being used for retaliation, sullying people, posting their work information, their nude photos in private messages. It becomes problematic. It becomes very problematic. And they're saying here, so apparently a doctor, Dr. Van Hoof, said the leak was proving women's point to why this app felt to be necessary. It's definitely not disabusing these women of any thoughts they have about men and male behavior. She believes women's safety has been compromised, and men have felt their actions were taken out of context and exploited for gossip. For Sally, the leak has impacted her sense of protection. She says, I'm moving in with loved ones just to feel safe. So, in the end, after making this app that was supposed to be to help women protect each other, which they need, there is a need for it, where did we end up? Well, we ended up with women's addresses and ID and photos being spread all over the internet, making them unsafe to unsavory characters, including a lot of men that are bad people. And we ended up with men having their personal photos, stories, and posts being spread throughout the internet as well. There is not only one victim here, there is multiple. And they come from both sexes, men and women. And I think that would have been a way better article than what you just read from the BBC. I think they tried to frame this story as a feminist sort of plot and tried to post it as all men bad. And we got to stop that in the media. It's very worrying that this trend continues. vilifying all men is not helping to catch the bad men. It doesn't. It does not work that way. And all you're doing is, pushing good guys down while the bad guys hide in between all the dirt going around and they hide in the shadows and you're not helping anyone. So it's concerning. Chipmunk said those women use bananas, not pineapples. They may use bananas. That's right. Gail said, never send spicy pics to anyone. They could end up online. I think in this day and age, it's a very hard message to put out there to not send photos like that to anyone. And while it's a great idea in theory, the modern dating landscape sort of demands it. Um, when you haven't met someone and you're trying to get to that point, and that's that's sort of what is expected now. Um, you know, even from women. Like they expect it. They're like, I need a photo. I want to see what this guy's like. Hey, send me one without a shirt on, and blah blah blah, and it progresses from there. So I think it's difficult to try and cut all that out nowadays. Um, I don't know what the answer to that is. I think trying to tell people not to do something like that will just fall on deaf ears. I don't think it's going to work. But it's a good point. If you don't want them online, don't send them, because most likely they will, and they may end up in the most unusual way, like this one, in a data breach. So this app has been taken down from the App Store, like I was telling you. It is still available on Android. So if you're on an Android phone, you can still access the app, and it is still up and running. It's just not available on Apple anymore, and it continues today. There are probably still about 1 million women that are on the app. So there is, and now men have made their own version, called, what do they call it? What is it called? They had the name for it up here. I don't know. Uh, they had a name for it, didn't they, in the article? I don't know. They had a name for it in the article. I don't know what it's called now. It's some male T app copycat. So, and as we all know, gossip has been around since the dawn of time. So I don't think you're going to stop it. I don't think you can tell people to like not gossip. But I think hiding it under the guise of protecting women is, um, at the like sort of minimal, it's not true, and at worst, it's almost a crime. So if you want to do things that you intended to do from the original part of it, which was to protect women, there has to be more safeguards put in place. And these guys that you're posting about, there has to be more security around it. There has to be something that can protect, because you can't say that every woman that posts on that app is genuine. And there's probably a lot of women who have hurt feelings, and you know he stood me up, or this guy just didn't turn up to the date. He talked to me for 2 weeks and then just stopped replying, and then he gets put up on the app, and it's like, well, he's not a dangerous guy. He just didn't want you. And that's not a reason to be doxxed and, have your workplace called and stuff like that. So SP1 said, gossip, rumors, and innuendo is the only gossip I listen to. She's hilarious, kind, and honorable. I don't know who that is, but I'm glad you like them. Woman has still said, if an app like this was heavily moderated for safety's sake and had background check and rules, it could possibly end up being just as popular as poorly run dating apps. I'd make it expensive just to keep people out. Or I think they tried to have safety checks, but their security on the back end of the app was so poor that when the data breach happened, it was basically like finding a link. They found a link that had no protection on it. There was no encryption, there was no password, there was no data set protection, there was no salting of the information, there was no like rainbow table or anything like that. It was clear air or clear data that they could just download. It was like that. They just found a link, got all this, and they downloaded it in a couple of hours. Now, the data set contain the first one. There is two more after that, but the first one was over 50. Wait, whoa. No, I thought it was 50 gig. It was 227 gigabytes of information from the first data breach. 227 gigabyte. Wow. Quarter of a terabyte of information in the original leak. Now, you may ask, Ping, how come you didn't show any of the stuff from the data breach? I am not going to do that. It's illegal. And I'm not here to further spread the data breach. So I just wanted to research it so I knew what I was talking about. Um, I'm not here to further spread people's information, male or female, online, including photos or what they're posting or whatever. I'm not going to do that. I think that's awful. SPMon said, "Ping, you will like her. She makes everything horrible we talk about lighthearted and hilarious. I am the king of dark humor. I make the worst jokes in the world about true crime." Chipmunk says, "Another guy locked me in his car unless I kissed him." Well, that guy is dangerous. Humor is needed to deal with crap. That is true. Woman still said a good way to get yourself sued. That too. I don't want the legal ramifications from it. So yeah, it's not something you guys would want to see. It's not something you guys would ever want to view. I can just tell you what was in it. It was a multi-part data set. It had a bunch of metadata and then different organized type files, including users, like so different users of the platform, posts, comments, chats, attachments, some sort of like freemium fake photos or something, and another assets type folder. So it had a bunch of different mail, uh like who is this guy and what and are we dating him or whatever. So a lot of dudes photos. What was this? Okay. And yeah, a lot of like ID photos of women. So women would take a selfie to get into the app, and it had a lot of their sign up photos in this data breach. So I'm guessing there's a lot of unhappy women that posted. Like I saw one in the folder. It was a nurse who worked at a hospital, and she took a photo of herself holding her ID lanyard. And imagine if that got out. That wouldn't be great, right? She has a job, and I guess her bosses would be pretty pissed off that she's posting her ID online. So there's some problems all around with the data leak itself. Anyway, I wanted to bring it to your attention because there are multiple lawsuits going on right now surrounding this data leak. There is a few in the USA with multiple members that are heading through the court right now, and I will tell you more about it when we get to a, a more right now it's sort of like in the early stages. They're sort of presenting evidence and getting through the court, circuit court and stuff like that. When it gets to a more advanced stage, I will bring you more about it. But there are definitely lawsuits surrounding this data breach that have been brought by men and women in the court of law in America. So, yeah. Woman of Steel said, "I avoid all that crap. No time for garbage going into my brain. No Jerry Springer. No The View." I don't know if this is The View, but so yeah, be very careful online, men and women. I think this shows you that even something that was, you know, the T dating advice app, it ended up being something that was designed to protect women originally. Like the original kernel of the idea was to help women, ended up maybe putting a lot of women in danger because now their photos are out and their map locations are out there. And even this lady in the article was going to move. This lady was going to move in with family because she was so worried that her violent ex partner was going to find her. So it ended up doing the opposite of what they thought it was going to do. Chipmunk said, "Good to avoid, find healthy stuff." So that is your update on that. I thought that was an interesting topic because we always talk about like how can we help women? How can we stop so many violent crimes, women being killed, women being dismembered and thrown in a gutter or whatever. Like, I read thousands of stories every year about it from Australia alone, the UK, the USA, and I wanted to show you the other side of it, which was this data breach. Anyway, I hope I provided you with a unbiased look at it, and I hope it was like, even keeled. I didn't want to be like, these are the people in the right and these people are in the wrong. I just wanted to tell you what the actual facts were. Rachel said that would be my worry. Dangerous X could get info. It could be, right? If you had a dangerous X, it's possible. These data breaches happen to everyone. Even do you remember a few years ago there was one at Target? Target had one, like the largest data breach in history or something, and it was from people swiping their cards to pay for things, and it all got out into the world. So, all right, let's go up here. Let's see what else we got to talk about. Oh, we have a inmate on the loose. Apparently, 3 inmates fled a St. Landry Parish jail in Opelousas. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. In Louisiana on Wednesday. So we have a good old fashioned manhunt. We have a, a good old fashioned manhunt in St. Landry Parish. Let me see if I can find anything else. I just want to see if I've got an article update for you. Let's go over here. So apparently they did post some photos of these guys. Let's see. I'm just trying to see if the sheriff posted about it or not. Okay, here you go. So the St. Landry Parish Sheriff's Office says 3 inmates escaped the parish jail, and the sheriff reports it was learned this morning that 2 inmates escaped from the jail. The inmates discovered a degraded part of an upper wall area and over time removed the mortar, allowing them to remove concrete blocks and provide their exit. That's pretty clever. Isn't that like the Shawshank Redemption that they like sort of worked at it very slowly for like months and months, like just taking small parts of the bars or whatever. They basically did that. They just chipped away at it very slowly over a period of time and then were able to remove concrete blocks and then leave the jail. They say the inmates used sheets and other items to scale the outer wall and drop onto the first floor roof, lowering themselves to the ground. The internal investigation has been initiated. The jail will be providing a comprehensive report, and both will be forwarded to the sheriff's office for appropriate action. The sheriff advises both of these individuals are in custody relative to charges of a violent nature. The public should not approach them, but should immediately notify local authorities. The third missing inmate was recently discovered as he is also charged with numerous felony offenses and was involved in a recent SWAT standoff. We ask the public to be cautious and not approach and notify authorities. So they have some photos of these guys. Here we go. This is Keith Eli. There's Keith Eli, age 24. Jonathan Jevon Joseph, age 24. And Joseph Allen Harrington, age 26. And it would have been nice if they could have provided some of their tattoos as well, because they all have tattoos by the looks of it. So these guys, pretty clever actually. Sometimes we say there's a lot of dumb criminals, but these guys were pretty clever. They degraded part of a upper wall area and then just removed the giant blocks and escaped. All right, let's see if we can find anything from Louisiana about these guys. Oh no. So this had been on my list for a couple of days. Apparently, one of them died. Yeah, one of them died. So in an update, not posted on their Facebook page, they're saying jail inmate dead after standoff in Port Barre, and they're saying here he reportedly died after a standoff with deputies. This is Joseph Allen Harrington, died from a self-inflicted gunshot wound after a standoff. So now they're only looking for two of them. They're still looking for two more. Jeez. Let's see here. I'm just trying to see what happened to the other two. Yeah, they're saying Joseph Allen Harrington used a hunting rifle Thursday to end that standoff, and unfortunately, he is not alive anymore. And the other two, Jonathan Joseph, was captured Friday following a brief chase. Good work. Who are we looking for then? Detective SWAT officers were following leads in the pursuit of 24-year-old Keith Eli. Last one, Keith Eli. That is the last one out of the three. One is back in jail, one died, and one is still on the lam. So we're looking for one last guy. And it is this fella here. If I can get his thing here. This guy. He is the last one out of the three. The other two, one's in jail again, didn't last very long on the way out, and the other one, unfortunately, decided he could never go back to jail, unfortunately. Um, hey, SP Mama, how are you? Yeah, really didn't want to go back. Harrington really did not want to go back to jail, did he? I think that's very sad. I think it's very sad. Um, you know, very young, 24 years old. Actually, I think he was 26. 26 years old, and his life snuffed out after being on the run for a few days. So the last one they're looking for is Mr. Keith Eli, and the LA Times even has it. Sheriff hunting last of three inmates who escaped from Louisiana jail. And I know we have some people from Louisiana who watch the show. So if you're in what is a place called? Parish, Opelousas, Louisiana, and they're saying St. Laundry Parish. So if you're near St. Laundry and you live in the area, maybe you might see him around. If you do, call 911. They're saying he could be armed, could be dangerous, has been convicted of violent crimes. So there we go. Last one. Lucky last. There we go. Lucky last inmate. All right. What else do we have? Any other updates for you? We did the update last night of Tanya and her daughter Tatiana. That's a great update. Ping was so happy about it. So just such a great so happy that we can move to the next stage for her after years ago not believing that she may ever get her day to have her name given back and a day in court for who put her in that Rubbermaid container. Just great. I'm so happy about it. All right. Let's see. Okay, I don't think I want to do that one. Trying to move away from doing too many child cases. We got a lot on my list. I have like 4 or 5 different children cases. I don't know if I want to do that. Maybe we could go to Bear County. Let's see if we can go to Bear County in Texas. If I can get this link up. So they're looking for a woman in Bear County. I'm going to take you to, I think we'll go to KSAT if we can. She has a diagnosed medical issue and they don't understand where she's got to. She's been missing since December 2nd. Here's a photo of her, and she's 42 years old, missing out of Bear County, and her name is Katrina Mayfield. Last seen near the corner of Texas Highway 16 and Bandera. And that's her photo there from the county sheriff's office. Where she might be. Oh, no, she got located. Yay. I am magic. Ping is magic. I think I am magic. Every time I have a missing persons report, whether it be children or adults, and we go to do the story, we go on the links, and then there's like a big update saying they've been located. So she is okay, and I'm happy about that. Glad they found her. Medical one, those medical ones are really, really bad. We had one a couple of weeks ago where someone had a medical condition and they found them deceased. So I'm glad she's okay. She's back with her family for the holidays. Good news. Katrina has been located, and yay, we can cross that one off our list of missing people. I love that. It's so much better than having to do like, oh, they found them dead in a field and off the highway or something. Like that's so much better. All right, let me see. Maybe we have. I'm trying to see what we didn't catch up on earlier this week. Maybe this one. All right, here we go. So we are in Chatham County in Georgia, and man indicted in 2019 death of elderly man at a bar. And they're saying the grand jury indicted him for a murder on December 3 in connection to the death of an elderly man at Willington Island Bar in 2019. Charles Alexander Teeple IV was indicted on charges of murder, aggravated assault, and exploitation and intimidation of an elderly person. He is accused of punching 66-year-old Bruce Hemley at Basil's Bar. Hemley died several days later. According to Teeple's attorney, he's entered a not guilty plea on his behalf and has requested a jury trial. He's been in custody for a while. This was back in 2019. He entered his plea back in 2023. So this has been going on for almost 4 or 5 years. Let me see what else I can find about him. If it's been that long ago, there must be an update. Man accused of. I was trying to see if I could find a video from when it happened originally. Is there one from when? Yeah. Okay. Let's see if we can find one from when it originally happened. No. Okay, 8th of May 2020, they ruled it a homicide. So it took months to rule it a homicide even back then. I'll put up a photo of the accused. Here's his photo. He's now been indicted by a grand jury on account of murder for punching and then killing that elderly man. I don't know, do we call people who are 66 elderly? I feel like might be like retirement age. I don't know if you call them elderly. I feel like maybe that's a little. Don't know if it's elderly, right? So apparently he died after an assault on New Year's Eve in 2019. They're saying officers were called to Basil's on December 31 for the report of an assault. Bruce Hemley told officers he'd been punched by a man at the restaurant. Witnesses told the police the attack on Hemley was unexpected and unprovoked. Hemley refused medical treatment the night of the incident and went home. The next morning, he was taken to hospital after losing consciousness. He later died at hospital on January 8. That's interesting. He declined medical treatment. And what do we know when people get punched in the head or have a head injury? You can't go to sleep, and there's a chance you could like die. You could become unconscious later on and die. How can you charge him with murder when he declined medical treatment? I wonder if that's why they went to the grand jury, because that's strange. It's I reckon his lawyer is gonna be able to fight this because he was given the opportunity for medical care when it happened and he declined it. That means he made a conscious decision to not go and get care. I'm confused. I wonder how they were able to get a grand jury indictment for that because it's almost like, yes, he got punched, but there's another event there where he declined that medical care, and it's only because he declined that medical care that he was unconscious the next day and then died. So, no, it's a murder charge. It's a murder charge. It's not GBH or assault, it's murder charge. Hey, Nanalana, how are you? Yeah, that's very confusing. I reckon his lawyer is gonna be able to fight that because that's a huge hole in the story. You can't charge like yeah, I think this is unfortunately maybe gonna be there would have to be some other evidence to be able to support that murder charge because hmm, yeah. They're saying yeah, Hemley refused EMS at the scene. The next morning, he was taken to hospital after losing consciousness. Family said he died on January 8th. On January 2nd, Chatham County Police arrested and charged the 19-year-old Charles Alexander Jacobson Teeple IV with battery in connection with the punch that targeted Hemley. He's currently facing a misdemeanor, but now the grand jury indicted him on that higher charge. I am very yeah. Chatham grand jury indicted a man for murder on December 3rd in connection with the death of an elderly man at the Wilmington Island Bar in 2019. So somehow that grand jury was okay bringing those charges. I I think that's going to be a very messy legal case because yeah, I feel like yes, he punched him. But when you take the control out of the attacker's hand, and then you say, "Okay, the victim, even though he may have been injured and possibly even he may have been drinking that night," you take the decision out of the attacker's hand, then give it to the victim, and they say, "No, I don't want any more help. I'm okay." They decline that medical care, then like, become unconscious and die a few days later in hospital. Yeah, I struggle with that. I think they would have been better going for a manslaughter conviction. I think a jury's gonna kick back on that at a trial. I don't think a jury's gonna like that very much. I think they're gonna say it's not fair. Hold on. Sorry about that. Had a phone call. Hey, Nonalana, how are you? Oh, I'm not talking about any of that stuff. I've moved on from Lori Vallow and that 2 years ago. I mean, I'm happy their convictions are done and their trials are done, but I haven't actively covered Lori Vallow and anything like that in about 2 years. Emily Knob said, "Not in the right minded state due to the injury." Yeah, it's gonna be an interesting trial. Gaylor said they may say he must have been confused or didn't have the money for treatment. Maybe it could be that. Maybe he didn't have medical insurance. That may be a way of getting around. I still think you're gonna have a hard trial. I think his legal team's gonna be able to throw up a few roadblocks to a conviction because they're saying here autopsy results showed that his death was caused by subdural hematoma, which resulted from a blow to the head. And they're saying here, we were made a promise that once they get the autopsy back and determined it was homicide, I've got cuffs ready. I'm going to march off and arrest him, according to Jessica Richard, Hemley's daughter. And she says, well, they got it. They got that autopsy result. So there you go about that one. We're gonna have to keep an eye on that one. Charles Alexander Jacobson Teeple the Fourth. Why does he have so many names? Why why does he have four names? It's very strange. I'm trying to see if we can find anything else here. Okay. It's interesting. I can't find any like videos or updates or anything like that. It must be hyper localized to the area. Here's another photo of the guy accused and now charged for the murder, the guy with the four names. Yeah, so a brain bleed, basically. Subdural hematoma, which means blood or fluid underneath the subdural. So, like probably underneath the skull, I think. Um, so it would have put pressure on his brain and he probably died, which is very sad. Permaculture Kiwi said, getting old is so much harder to recover from injuries. That is true. That is very true. Me, at my old age, I have experienced that. Me in my old 40s. Let's see here. I want to see if we've got anything else. I'm not going to do anything on Mangione. I don't think I am going to cover that going into trial. Okay. I know a lot of people are doing the Brian Walsh thing. Let's see if we can do an update on that, maybe. I remember this. I think we did this back when it originally happened. This is Anna Walsh. And one of the weird things that he's come up with is that he's saying like she died for unexplained reasons. Okay, buddy. I don't believe anything this guy says, Brian Walsh. Believe nothing. They're saying he pleaded guilty last month to disposing her body. Panicked when he discovered his wife's apparently lifeless body in their bed early New Year's Day in 2013. Sure, buddy, sure. That is like the thing that we all do, right? We wake up in the morning, our partner is dead in the bed. And do you know what we do? We dispose of their body. Don't call 911. Don't call for any help. Don't call a coroner. You pack up the body and you dispose of it because that's what normal people do, right? No, that is very strange. They're saying here the couple had been celebrating with a friend at their home south of Boston after doing the dishes and returning to their bedroom. Brian Walsh repeatedly nudged his wife and she fell to the floor. They say here he doesn't understand what has happened and what is happening. It didn't make any sense that someone he'd just been with and just enjoyed New Year's Eve with would be suddenly be dead. Afterwards, Brian Walsh began a frantic and tragic internet search that started with how best to dispose of a body and moved to a darker subject as he wrestled with the fact that Anna was dead. No. Who believes this? I don't think. Can we just laugh at him? Because, that's what we all do, right? Other search terms authorities discovered on Walsh's laptop from January 1st, 2023 included: is it better to throw crime scene clothes away or wash them? What do you mean, crime scene clothes? What do you mean? I thought you said she died naturally in the bed. What do you mean, crime scene clothes? And then he says, what happens when you put body parts in ammonia? Well, that's a crime. They're saying he also pointed to cutting tools, a Tyvek suit, and cleaning products Brian Walsh allegedly purchased that day. Days later, and miles from the couple's home, they allege he dumped the suit, a hacksaw, and Anna's belongings. No one has seen Anna Walsh since January 1, 2023. She has not accessed her finances, her email, her phone has made no calls. No one has found her body. I hope they can find her. I mean, I'm sure she's probably in the garbage system, most likely, which is awful. But this guy, he basically dobbed on himself. What do you mean, crime scene clothes? Why is it a crime? Why would you say my wife was found dead in bed? What do I do? Like, at least that would show some validity to your argument. But to say, is it better to throw crime scene clothes away or wash them? Not a very smart guy. Yeah, he dismembered her but didn't call 911. Like, that's what we would all do, right? You wake up or you go in the room, find your partner dead, and you're like, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna I'm gonna I'm gonna search on the internet. Is it better to throw away crime scene clothes or wash them? We talk about dumb criminals on this channel. This guy might be a dumb criminal. This guy sounds like a very, very stupid guy. Let me see if we can. I want to see if we can get a bit of court footage. Hold on. I want to see what they've been playing. I haven't been following it completely. Brian. But I want to see if we can find something. Maybe I should have covered it. It sounds like we would get a lot of entertainment from his lawyer. Too much other channels. Let's have a look. Apparently, I cannot find a local channel. They would have to be in Boston, right? I am surprised that like a local channel, some channel with like 4 letters and a number or something, is not doing updates for it. Boston News 25 is, but they're only posting the full court footage. And I don't want to play 6 hours of footage. Okay, here we go.
Day 2 of witness testimony in the murder trial of Brian Walsh. A Cohasset police officer was back on the stand talking about the investigation before Walsh's arrest. Boston 25 News reporter Bob Ward is live on scene outside Norfolk Superior Court in Dedham. Bob, today we also heard testimony about internet searches.
Rachel, this could be a critical day in this trial. We have been hearing about these internet searches ever since Brian Walsh was first arraigned in Quincy District Court. And now this jury is hearing for themselves the exact moment that police confronted Brian Walsh with these searches. Day 2 of the Brian Walsh murder trial, and the jury is focused on key evidence, a series of troubling internet searches found on a device in the Walsh family home before and after Anna disappeared over New Year's 2022 into 2023. Starting at just before 5 a.m. on New Year's Day and continuing until January 4th, police found dozens of internet searches for best ways to dispose of a body, how long for someone to be missing, inheritance, how long does DNA last, how to saw a body, can you identify a body with broken teeth, and more. In a police interview on
I'm very glad he's not very clever. He obviously has no rational thinking or education, knowledge. How long does DNA last? Good search, buddy. Good first try. Good first try. How to saw a body. What, do you think there is an internet thing on it? Like someone on a YouTube channel's like, "Hi, I'm Dr. Dr. whatever at the Cadaver Lab. Here, I'm going to show murderers how to dismember and package a body for transport. We're going to do the Rex Heuermann method today and put it in burlap sacks. That's what we're going to do. We're going to do the Rex Heuermann method on the channel today, live on YouTube. Can you identify a body with broken teeth? Buddy, you can identify a body with a bunch of different things, including bone fragments, you absolute nutcase.
more. In a police interview on January 8th, police confronted Brian Walsh with those searches.
There is dozens of searches, and then I bet on the morning of the 1st that ask how to dispose of the body, how to get blood out of hardwood floors, how to dispose of the body in the trash, how to stop a body from decomposing, and how do you explain that?
I have no idea.
Brian Walsh has pleaded guilty to disposing of Anna Walsh's body. Police say he dismembered her body and threw her remains away in area dumpsters. For the first time, jurors saw images of items recovered from a dumpster near the home of Brian Walsh's mother. We see Anna Walsh's boots and Anna's COVID-19 vaccination card. We also see a picture of a cut on one of Walsh's thumbs. The day before he was arrested, police asked Walsh if he was violent towards Anna.
I ask you, did you do anything to hurt your wife?
No, I would never do that.
Has that ever escalated to a physical confrontation?
No, sir, no. My wife and I got along very, very well. The family doesn't work without my wife. Never hurt my wife. I mean, I love her. What would it think? I think about my kids too. She's a one.
If she was such a wonderful mother and wife, why is she not here with us today? And I asked this question from some of the searchers before. He asked about how to get blood out of a hardwood floor. Why is there blood on the hardwood floor if she died in the bed? How did her blood get on the floor? This guy just tells on himself constantly. Constantly. Through all these searches, he basically painted a photo of what he did to Anna. Very, very silly guy.
Wonderful mother on top of being a wonderful wife.
And there's another internet search that's raising some eyebrows. On January 1st, a few hours after Anna Walsh disappeared, someone ran a search for a California serial killer called the Trash Bag Killer. That person allegedly dismembered his victims and threw them away in trash bags. Now, Brian Walsh is denying that he murdered his wife. His lawyer is saying that Anna Walsh died of natural causes. Testimony resumes in the morning. Reporting live from Dedham, I'm Bob Ward for your local station, Boston 25.
If you loved your wife that much and you say, like, she is this wonderful mother and a great wife, why would you desecrate her body in that way? Why would you cut her up? Why would the final thing you do to her was to brutalize her in death? I don't understand that. And unless he can explain that sufficiently, then hopefully he's convicted. Because unfortunately, I don't think they're ever going to find her. If he cut her up and put her into the garbage system, sort of what happened with the lady in Washington, it's so difficult. Like, it's very, very hard to find bodies in the garbage system unless they are whole. if they're parts of people, and it's very difficult. You have to know the truck, the bin, the time of day it got picked up, where it went to, what section of the landfill it got put into. You got to get a warrant to seal that part of the landfill so no more rubbish gets put on top of it, so no one moves anything around. It is a daunting task for a detective to try and do that. But I hope they do, but I have my doubts. Marylander says natural cause, not a chance. Why would you cut her up? If she died from natural causes and you have nothing to worry about, then you call the authorities and you say, I found my wife in bed, she's not responsive. And then they go, oh my God, she died, and you have a funeral and you be very sad for a long time. Like, you don't cut her up, do internet searches about a crime scene, and then, dispose of her body. Woman still said, how do these smart, beautiful women find these absolute losers and throw their lives away on them? She had to know he was a mama's boy. He definitely seems like someone who has been basically spoiled and hand reared even into adulthood by his mom. He's effed. Yeah, let's hope so. Mimi says natural but cut up. Yeah, it doesn't make any sense. The only reason you would cut up a body would be to hide how they died. Like you know why? I have a feeling he strangled her to death. Either strangled her or beat her to death. And the reason for cutting her up was to hide the evidence of how she died. That's the only reason you'd cut a body up in that way, in this particular scenario. And it would be to hide her cause of death. Jayla said someone above said they burn the trash there. Oh, really? Oh, they don't, do they? Who said that? I'm trying to find it. I can't find the comment, but if that's true, that's awful. That they burn their trash. I mean, I get why they might do it, but yeah, they may never find her then. If they put it in an incinerator, maybe they'll never find it. It's happened in a few cases, unfortunately. Hey Peggy, how are you? By the way, while we have like a little tiny break for a second, I want to thank my friend Betty C. Betty C says she loves supporting the channel, and she said Merry Christmas to me, and she said she likes to check in on it. Yeah. She says happy holidays. Yes, happy holidays, my friend. Good to see you. Good to see you. Hold on, guys. I have to close my back door. Give me 1 second. All right. Yeah, thank you to my friend Betty C. Thank you for supporting the channel, and Merry Christmas to you, my friend. I hope 2025 was a better year for you than 2024. I know you had a really hard year in 2024. I hope this one's going better for you. Yeah, it's good to hear from you, my friend. Good to hear from you. Woman of Steel said, even if they find all of her, they will never know what killed. Yeah, they'll never know what killed her. No, when you dismember someone like that, it's very difficult to find a cause of death. It's especially if they've been decomposed or put through an incinerator. It's almost impossible. So just finding parts of her would be a miracle. Yeah, very, very sad. I haven't been following it. I know people are asking me, have I been watching it every day? I haven't. I have not been watching this particular trial. Maybe I should have. Maybe I should have done some coverage on it throughout the week. Here, they got some photos. Evidence recovered from the dumpster. Let's have a look. Oh my God, they look like exact. Why would you need the pliers? Are they pliers or like snips? They look like snips. An axe, a hammer, whatever this is, a saw, some other kind of crazy, looks like something you could cut off toes with or fingers. Look at that. If that's what he used to uh, cut her up, I mean, it looks like a kit for, yeah, pliers for pulling out teeth, maybe. Awful. Ah, that poor lady. What else did they show us? They're saying here data from Brian's cell phone shows messages sent to Anna's cell phone between January 2nd and January 4th after her death. Walsh told investigators he hadn't seen or heard from his wife since she left for a flight to Washington, D.C. to handle a work emergency around 6 a.m. on New Year's Day. Oh, really? Really? Walsh's defense attorney told the jury in his opening statement that Walsh found his wife inexplicably dead in their bed in the early hours of New Year's Day, panicked, and then lied to investigators. Sure, I don't believe you, buddy. And then here's the messages he sent. Hello, Thomas found the phone playing on William's bed. William said he forgot it was there. Haha, okay, call anytime. Hello, where are you? Please call or text. Exhausting day with the boys, but we had fun. Going to bed early, big day tomorrow for everyone. I still love you. Haha. Yes, you often joke about loving people. Hello, where are you? I'm worried. Where are you? I will call after I drop the boys. If I don't hear from you this morning, I'm going to report you missing. You sound so convincing, buddy. So convincing. I texted your sister and Alyssa. I am calling Jeff. If I don't hear from you, where are you? Hello. The boys and I are worried. I'm calling work tomorrow if I don't hear from you. Where are you? I'm calling Jeff now. All right, buddy. Whatever. Not very convincing. You would not make a good actor in Hollywood. They're saying here a wider look at phone usage would show the jury innocuous searches for movies, restaurants, and wine. He also stressed the timeline revealed by the phone activity. No grisly searches about how to dispose of a body or clean up blood occurred before the morning of January 1st, 2023. There you go. Pretty telling that he did not search for content like that until apparently his wife died in their bed. I know, searching at 5 a.m. Yeah, they look like tin snips. That's what they look like. No, not wire cutters. They're too big. Gayla said calling her new boyfriend to go look for her was just evil. Yeah, he's just an asshole. They're saying here, they're saying a medical examiner from Boston took the stand briefly before the trial adjourned Friday afternoon. So Monday should be a big day in the trial when the medical examiner can come in and say what they know. How much they know, I don't know, but they might be able to do something. They're saying the medical examiner said his job was to determine whether any human tissue could be recovered from the evidence. He's expected to continue testifying about his findings on Monday when the trial resumes. That'll be good. Okay, that was funny. I had my phone open. I just sent a message to Mrs. Ping, and it was dictating what I was saying to you guys. It had a perfect copy of what I just said about the trial. And I was like, who's typing this? Yeah. Yeah, very strange. It was like a ghost was typing with my own words of what I was speaking. I don't use text to speech. I don't use it. So when it was doing it on its own, it looked a little freaky. All right. Yeah, that'll be good. Monday morning, medical examiner at the trial. That'll be a good day to watch if you're a trial watcher. They're saying they have previously said the jury will hear from Anna Walsh's former boss, who was with the Walsh family into the early hours of New Year's Day and was the last person known to see Anna alive. That'll be good. That'll be good evidence too. Hold on. All right. And they're saying more investigators may testify about the evidence that led them to arrest Walsh for his wife's murder. That'd be good. That'd be good evidence too. Oh my god, it keeps doing it. It was just I don't know. I have to close my phone. It's acting haunted. My phone's acting haunted. Yeah, I don't know what I did, but it did it again. That sounded like an insult, you trial watcher. Yeah, you trial watcher. Ping's been in the trial for the one I've been watching for the last 2 weeks, and the sad thing is about Australia, especially Victoria, is we can't watch it together like you do in the American trials. Like, so I've been doing the Jody Hill trial in the Supreme Court, but it's not like we can spend all day and watch the court action and then I can explain to you what's going on and give you my comments. And it's not possible. They don't live stream trials down here. And the only thing I can do is go to the trial, take my notes, and then give you the information. It's very old fashioned the way it works down here. And they just don't live stream it. It's not a thing. So yeah, so I'm expecting the Jody Hill trial to wrap up this week. I'm expecting it probably before Friday. I hope they'll be through final statements and maybe judges charge to the jury, and then the jury will go into deliberation. So as soon as we get a verdict, I will tell you everything I know, and I think it is a story that you will be very interested in because it has a little bit of everything. It has a crime scene, it has a murder, it has forensic evidence, it has other things that happen in the sort of orbit of the main players in the trial, things that maybe influence different things, and you will be very, very impressed by this trial, I think, with the information at the end. Gail says, what do you think about the law happening in Victoria charging 14-year-olds as adults? Well, with the youth crime epidemic down here, I think they need to try something because there's just too many kids getting away from, like, every night down here, they hoon around and there's cars, stolen cars, and the helicopters overhead every night. Yeah, there's a helicopter overhead every night, chasing stolen vehicles everywhere, and it happens every single night. They break into homes, violently attack people, take their car keys, kick women in the head and stomach, and beat up pregnant ladies. They just don't care, and something sort of needs to change so that something happens. It's really bad down here. It's very bad down here right now. It's the area where I live is a heavy target for youth breaking into homes. Happens, like I said, happens here every night. Every night there's break-ins to homes in the middle of the night so they can steal car keys and then take the vehicle. Happens every night in the suburb where I live. Yeah, I don't think it's a bad thing. I think if you do the big boy crimes, then you should get charged as an adult. So that's what I think. All right. What else we got on the list for tonight? So we did a little bit about Brian Walsh, which I thought was interesting. Let's go to there was an update in that Australian case, and I want to maybe bring it to you. Remember I told you about the lady who was killed by her own pit bull? Well, there's an update, and I want to bring it to you if I can. Where is that? Okay. Actually, let's not do that. Let's talk about. I wonder if you guys heard the story about a guy named Roman Novak and his wife Anna. I want to know if you know about this. And it is so they were apparently crypto millionaires, and they were getting people to invest in their crypto, business. Well, they were in Dubai, and business partners wanted to meet up with them, and they wanted to talk about business, right? They wanted to, maybe talk about how it's going, like what things are happening, if they want to do X, Y, and Z, like a business meeting. This is one of the craziest things I've heard about. And what happened is these people that ended up meeting up with them, they were not business partners. They were people that had lost money to this crypto guy. They took Anna and Roman out into the desert, into the mountains, sorry, forced them to watch each other be tortured while they were trying to extract money from them that was, I think, owed to them, most likely. Apparently he had £380 million locked away behind a digital wallet that might never have existed. So when these people abducted the both of them, took them out to this place near the border in Dubai, they tortured each of them and made them watch each other be tortured, hoping that one of them would give up the money and the digital assets so they could retrieve what they were owed, right? Eventually, after they were tortured for a period of time, they did give up the information to the digital wallets. But when the criminals who were, basically killing them, when they logged into the account, there was no money. The wallets were empty. There was no digital fortune for them to retrieve. There was no money. So this guy was living a facade. There was no fortune. There was no £380 million. And they're saying here, apparently they had 2 children which were left orphaned after their killing. And they're saying here, they were forced to watch each other being tortured before being killed. They encased them in concrete after putting them in these thick, heavy industrial plastic bags, then encased them in concrete, took them out to the desert, dug holes in the desert, and buried them. And they were hoping that they would never be found, but they were eventually located. I'll put a big photo of them on the screen for you. Here's Anna and Novak right here, living the life of luxury, but most likely were scamming people the entire time. And eventually, when you do this, you will come up against someone who won't just take the loss. That, you come across someone who's got the means and the access to hurt you. And apparently that is what happened here. And these two were, very, their final moments must have been shocking. Absolutely brutal. Here, I'm going to see here. According to investigators, the couple's personal driver took them towards Hada, the idyllic mountain enclave around 80 miles from Dubai. But once reaching a parking area near a lake, Novak and Anna were transferred into another vehicle, supposedly sent by investors eager to discuss business opportunities. Those investors, detectives say, were their killers. Almost immediately after Novak's desperate message was sent, so he sent a message out to his contacts saying he needed roughly £150,000 urgently. And no one could help him. No one had the cash to help him. They're saying here, their couple's phones, after they were taken, began acting strangely, bouncing between the area, the Oman border, and later absurdly appearing near Cape Town, South Africa, before finally going silent on October 4. Authorities now believe the phones were deliberately turned on in various countries to sow confusion, a crude but effective tactic aimed at delaying the discovery of the true crime scene. And they're saying here, Russian investigators have now painted a chilling portrait of what happened after the couple entered the villa. There, according to sources speaking to Russian newspapers, the kidnappers attempted to extract access code to Novak's cryptocurrency wallets they believe held hundreds of millions of pounds. What happened next is too horrific to comprehend. The kidnappers forced the couple to watch each other being tortured in a bid to gain the codes. Novak eventually provided access, but when the killers checked the wallet, they allegedly found nothing. They saying here Novak didn't resist, but there was no cryptocurrency left. The wallet was empty. The pair failed to raise a ransom from elsewhere. Roman and Anna were killed and then dismembered. Emirati police found traces of Anna's blood at the villa, blood in the rented car, and a cache of knives near the crime scene, and one of the organizers' t-shirts left behind in haste. Whether Novak has hidden the funds, spent them, or never possessed them in the first place remains unknown, but the reaction of the kidnappers' fate, well, actually, the reaction of the kidnappers sealed their fate. So when they couldn't hand over any money, when they couldn't raise £150,000 from outside people, the kidnappers just killed them. Just decided to kill them, dismember them. They put them into these thick plastic bags, tied it up. They put a chemical in the bag too to I think to hasten decomposition, and then encased them in concrete and buried them in the desert. So whoever they pissed off, I don't know. But one of the people that was there that night was an ex-homicide detective. Two others were Russian soldiers. So they pissed off some very, very, very high up people. Whoever it was, don't know. But they did piss off some higher up rich people. They did arrest 3 Russian nationals over it. One of them is a former homicide investigator turned drug smuggler, and 2 former soldiers who had fought for Russia in the war in Ukraine. And they're saying they were arrested after returning to Russia from Dubai. And they're saying here all 3 have been remanded into custody until December 28, awaiting extradition to St. Petersburg and facing the full weight of charges that include kidnapping, torture, murder, and attempt to conceal evidence. So there you go. I think we could probably get a video for you of when they were arrested, maybe. Let me see. Let me see if I can find you. There was a video of them raiding an apartment. I want to see if I can show it to you. But unfortunately, I don't think I can find it, unfortunately. But yeah, it's a very sad story. But you know why I wanted to tell you this story? There was a documentary released on the BBC last week, and it's very similar to this. A guy in the UK defrauded many, many people out of money in a scam. So he was scamming people for Glastonbury tickets, and he basically stole almost £1 million from various people who wanted to go to Glastonbury, and he is now on the run. And there's a thing in the movie where someone who represents a certain group of people who invested in this to get the tickets, they sent a heavy after him, and the guy sat him down and was like, "If you don't come up with the money, we're gonna kill you." And this guy was not messing around. Like, he was an actual UK gangster, like real gangster, and they basically tricked him. Similar to this, the guy in the UK one, he was supposed to be meeting the scammer to invest in his business, and that is how the gangster got close to him. And as soon as they met, they sort of did the little bit of a spiel about the business enterprise investing money, and then the guy just switched on him and was like, "Hey, I'm not here to give you any money. I'm here to get money, and I'm here to get the money back that you owe for people." £480,000 that he had to come up with, and the guy's like, "Can you come up with it in a month?" He's like, "The people that I work for are very unsavory characters who want to do unsavory things." And I think if you can find it, you should watch it. Hold on. It's called Fake Friend, the Ticket Scammer, and it came out on the BBC. I'll show you the BBC site here. There you go. It's on BBC Three. It's called Fake Friend, the Ticket Scammer, and it's about this guy who basically grew up in his life, went to a rich school, had rich friends, and decided instead of using his connections and talent from growing up, he decided to scam people, including people closest to him, for money. And he could have done much more with his life, being he was privately educated, went to a very posh school, and this is what he decided to do. Now he's on the run after owing £1 million and basically ruined his life. He's got like actual true gangsters, very similar to Anna and Novak. He's got very heavy people looking for him who, if they can find him, they'll probably kill him. And yeah, so I don't know if it'll air on BBC. I think it's called BBC Now in the USA or BBC USA. It might be on that channel in the US if you're in America. But yeah, very interesting documentary. The guy's name is Miles Hart, and that was that guy that is accused of a £1 million scam. Not close to 380 million like the other one. But yeah, this was in Somerset in England. And they're saying here he lived a luxury fake life, basically, used other people's money to fund his lifestyle. And yeah, scammed people for £1 million worth of Glastonbury tickets. I feel like it's a no-win game. If you're going to do this, you're going to go down the road of scamming people out of £1 million. You have to know that the other side of it is not good. You're going to probably end up murdered. When you take money like that, the only people who have big money like that are probably pretty bad people. They don't get a lot of money by being nice. I think you're in a lot of trouble. Yeah, I'll see if I can find a trailer for it that we could watch without getting into trouble. It's a really good one. Let's see. Yeah, so if you need a good documentary to watch, this might be a good one. I don't think I can play it. It's only on BBC trailers, and I'm not sure if I can show it to you. Hold on, let me have a look. All right. No, I can't play it for you, but what I can do is I can leave you a link in the chat, and you can watch it. Here's the link to the trailer, and if you can find it, it's a good one. Even in the people in the UK need a license to watch the BBC. Yeah, that's okay. That was posted on the YouTube channel, so that's from them. My stupid face is here. Yeah, there we go. There you go. So no, that's from their YouTube channel. That's fine. This is publicly available from their trailer channel for the BBC. This one, I think, I don't know how it works. You need if you're in the UK, you have to pay your TV license fee, and if you don't, they'll send you a very strongly worded letter in the mail. And if you don't pay after that, they'll knock on your door and then tell you in very strong words that you should pay your license. And then if you don't do that, they'll disappear for a year and then they'll come back and they'll send you another strongly worded letter about paying your license fee. Yeah. Can see the light better. Yeah, so there you go. Yeah, it's weird. It's a weird system in the UK that you have to pay this TV license fee. And if you don't, there's like this rumor in the UK, and they have these TV detector vans, and there's like this rumor goes around the UK every year that they have these vans that drive around the UK and can tell if you're using a TV or not. It's I think it's not real. There's no way of doing that, but it's sort of like a urban legend. Gayla said some people get jailed. I don't think is that for real? I think that's another urban legend. I don't think anyone's been jailed for not paying their TV license fee. Hold on. Yeah. You can't be jailed directly for not paying the UK TV license fee, but you can be prosecuted, fined up to £1,000, and then jailed for failing to pay that fine, with prosecutions often targeting vulnerable people, leading to criminal records for non-payment, though the BBC aims to help people avoid this last resort. I want to know if anyone's actually been convicted. Oh, here we go. Pensioner with dementia in debt mess convicted over unpaid TV license bill in fast track prosecution. They're saying ailing pensioners, people with mental health struggles, grieving families, and children have all been caught up in the single justice procedure scandal. They're saying here a 69-year-old was prosecuted by TV licensing earlier this month over the unpaid household bill and now has a conviction to his name. He wrote to the court to explain that he lives alone and had messed up with bills and getting into debt as his health declined and he started to lose mental capacity. His daughter, a single mother, stepped in and now has power of attorney over his finances, but missed the TV license bill while swamped. Despite details in the heartbreaking letter and question marks over his mental capacity, a magistrate decided to accept the pensioner's guilty plea, ordering him to pay £50 in costs and also forcing him to settle a £26 victim surcharge. The case was dealt with in a private hearing as part of the fast-track single justice procedure. Court records show Magistrate Cynthia Bryan dealt with 123 other SJP cases on the same day that the pensioner was sentenced. The man was accused by TV licensing after a visit to his home in Bradford in May, when an agent recorded that he had been watching reruns of Minder on ITV4 with no valid license in place. He says, "I am 69 years old, living alone and suffering with dementia. My daughter has power of attorney over my health and finance with my permission and has proof to show this. During this difficult time, my daughter has taken over my finances and sorts them out for me, as when I was on my own, I messed up a lot and ended up in various amounts of debt and unpaid bills. My TV license was not checked by my daughter, as she has been swamped with doing everything for me, including paying and sorting out other bills, my health appointments, as well as day-to-day tasks such as cooking, cleaning, and personal care, alongside working and being a single parent to a young child. Myself and my daughter apologize for overlooking this and will start my TV license payments now." The prosecution came shortly before the pensioner's 70th birthday. He was handed a 6-month conditional discharge by the magistrate, who spared him a fine. The government is considering changes to the controversial SJP system after the Standard award-winning investigation uncovered deep flaws in the secretive court process. Prosecutors like TV licensing do not routinely read letters submitted to the SJP courts as mitigation accompanying a guilty plea. It is commonplace for the letters to reveal important information about a defendant's circumstances that were unknown to the prosecution when the case began. Sometimes information comes to light that calls into question whether the prosecution is in the public's interest, such as major health issues, recent bereavements, and mental health concerns. But due to the design of the SJP, the opportunity to withdraw a case is frequently missed. So yeah, he got a conviction and had to pay £50 for not paying his TV bill. Yours is over £100. Yeah, you don't have to let them in. If you're in the UK, don't ever let them into your home. You do not have to let them in. They do not have a warrant, and you don't have to let them into your property. Yeah, they are not the police, and you don't have to let them in. And Gail said, I know of people that haven't paid in 15 years. Yeah, there's a lot of people. It's just their like when you guys in America watch ABC 7 or NBC 45 or whatever, the local affiliate in the UK, you have to pay for that. Like that local TV. They have to pay for that. That free to air TV has to be paid for with a license in the UK. Permaculture says here in New Zealand, nobody paid and protested. Then it was withdrawn because it cost too much money to chase people. They've never done it here in Australia. Gail said it's different. It's a license, like you need a bit of paper that says you can watch TV. Yeah, it's basically how they fund their free-to-air TV in the UK. So instead of it coming from public government money, it's part funded by the public that watch the TV. So you have to pay like £100 every year to get TV. Yeah, it's a bit of a weird system. They don't do it here. It's free to watch all the local channels here. Channel 7, Channel 10, all that type of thing. They don't charge any money here. Yeah, it's strange. Yeah, it is. So now this guy is 70 years old, never done anything wrong in his life, has a conviction. Um I know it's all. Hold on. Sorry, guys. She likes to message me when I'm on the show. She likes to disrupt our shows together. Gail said it's bloody ridiculous as we pay for cable. Yeah, you have to pay. If you pay for the cable, you also have to pay for the BBC one. Used to be $30 a month. Okay. Yeah, just ordinary TV like BBC, ITV, that type of thing. You have to pay a fee per year in the UK. All right. What time is it? 4:49. I think we've been on for like 2 hours already. All right. All right. I'm going to get out of here. I'm going to get out of here for the night. I don't know why our notifications are not going out, and I think that is harming our chat each night, that people are not knowing that the shows come on. So we're missing a lot of our old friends that used to come and hang out. I don't know how to fix it. It's not something we can do. It just is automatic. So I don't know how to make it any better. SPO said, good, Mrs. Ping is most important. Yeah, I always answer her. You are welcome. It's a shame more people are not thankful for the show. Gail said, if you want to go on iPlayer, they need your address to make sure you have a license. So you can just pick an address and be like, oh, I live at Buckingham Palace with the Queen, and be like, I live there. Chipmunk says, good rest and health to everyone. Yeah, we'll be back tomorrow night after the football. Niners are not playing football tomorrow. They are having a week off, so no 49ers tomorrow. Yeah, I don't know what's going on with the notifications. It's very strange. It's very odd. I'll look into it, but normally it's not anything we can do. Hold on. All right. All right. Hey, I want to thank my friend again, Betty C. I appreciate it. It's very kind. And we'll be back tomorrow. We'll be back tomorrow. Hey, Kelly, how are you, my friend? Good to see you guys. Yeah, that's it for today. We're almost 5 o'clock, almost 5 o'clock in Australian time. What are we doing tomorrow? I don't know what we're going to do tomorrow. We'll find something, some sort of true crime fun for you all. Being that tomorrow is a Sunday, I'll probably be on at the same time, around 2:30 Australian time, and that is 10:30 Eastern time. So I'll be back on at 2:30 and 10:30 Eastern. So, by the way, we may be doing some daytime American shows over the next couple of weeks. Let me know what you think about it, but I may be on at like 1 p.m. Eastern time. And I may stay on till about 5 o'clock American time, like 5 p.m. in the evening. Let me know what you think about this. This is an idea we're looking at, and we're looking at possibly doing a daytime American show a few times per week. So if you're one of these people that only watches true crime during the daytime, like maybe you work nights and you can't watch and you only work, you're only at home during the day, maybe like either 1 p.m. in the afternoon to 5 p.m. or 12 to 4 or 12 to 5, something like that. So we'll be on for a long period, like 4 or 5 hours. Oh, you cleaned your oven. Okay. Tell me what you think about the daytime shows, because we've been getting a lot of people asking if we can come on during the day and talk about some of the trials going on in America. And I was like, well, we could test it. We could test it and see what people think. So we'll see. Yeah, we'll see. It's a test. So we'll see what people think about it, but it's something we're looking into. All right. Okay. Well, we'll see. All right. I'll see you tomorrow. Bye. By the way, I'm aware this still says November. We're waiting on our we have a girl who does the ending videos for us now. She's making the new one now. So she's currently doing December's one. And even though these people are still on the list, when it comes back for December, it'll only be the people who donated in the last week. And then we'll update it every week until New Year's. So I think we have a couple. I think we have a couple new names to add to the list. So, all right. Good night, everyone. Bye.